So you want to make some cool. You can see it on the actual screen. So yeah, go ahead and if you want to name your own LED light, go for it. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to name your own LED light.
What do we call? How do you have this label on your board? MC, okay, and Q&A or in yellow. MC, okay, and Q&A or in yellow. MC, okay, and Q&A or yeah, the cherries.
If you scroll up a bit, we'll see. That's a little more features that's right there.
So what can you tell me about this fancy fine? Well, these are sea creatures, freshwater, saltwater, outer space?
Outer space. No, they're not from outer space. But I was actually going to back up. I was going to take this off for the moment and put on something a little bit closer to home for most people. So what I have is a microscope here, and we've hacked the microscope so that we can use something called dark field. And that's instead of having a bright white image. Ooh, that doesn't look good at all, does it? What we have is a light-colored image on a dark background. If I can get it into focus. There's some dirt on that. Here we go. This is pollen. And it's really bright. And turn the light down a little bit. And what I've done is there's a little slider here that slides out so I can go bright field, really bright. I'm not doing that. I want to be in dark field.
Okay.
And something's auto-adjusting the brightness. That's kind of fun. So one of the things I do when I'm doing this is I fight with the camera because the cameras want to auto-balance everything, and I want to do it myself. I want them to stop. It's like, please stop. Don't do that. But this is pollen. This is a prepared slide, so it holds still, which is nice because then I can focus in on things. I can zoom in with the microscope, and then I need to focus again. There we go. So this is some pollen. It looks like we're really cropped in on this, but this is one of the things I look at. So pollen from flowers, it gives you hay fever, but this is all pollen. Achoo, bless you, right?
I'll take it. Thank you. So pollen. We just jumped out of the water, so we're on dry samples now.
Yeah, it's nice to start with something that doesn't move, right? Like you can get everything focused, kind of. You can work on what you're looking at. So having a slide that you can expect to look a certain way is a nice place to start with a microscope. But I have to say, one of my favorite things to do is actually to use slides and look at things that move because they're more unpredictable, they're more interesting. I really appreciate them.
And if anybody in our live studio audience here would like to ask a question, we have a Q&A microphone. You do need to step right up and get very personal with it for the rest of us to hear, but you're actually you're asking your questions here.
Yeah. Any questions? No? It's like everyone hears the microscopist, they're like, done that.
Hello.
Hi.
I've been a huge fan of yours for years.
Really?
Yeah. What are the most surprising things you've seen looking through a microscope?
Right. So the most surprising and most wonderful thing that I've ever seen through a microscope is a larva of a lingularia. And it looks like Cthulhu in a clamshell, but it's like the size of like a quarter of a millimeter or less. It's super tiny. Really amazing. I've only ever seen one ever, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So this is kind of bright.
And while you're working on that, technical question, Pike and Odd, are we recording? Okay, because I don't have like a red light or anything, so you're doing it over there. Very good, thank you.
All right. So I'm playing with an app on my phone. It's called Shoot, and it lets me turn my phone into a webcam. So when I take this microscope out, because I do take the microscope out once a week. We go to a bar, hang out, and look at stuff on microscopes. It's happens locally, and it's amazing what people are curious about seeing on the microscope. So we've looked at beer bubbles, we've looked at soap bubbles, all kinds of things on the microscope. And I'm trying to play with this app right now. What's really interesting is what you see here isn't necessarily what comes through on the screen. So you're dealing with how the projector is reacting to the change in light, and how the phone is being used as a webcam and how it wants to react to the light. So let's see. Turn it down a little. Something's going to auto-adjust. It always does. That one that's a triangle, that's evening primrose pollen. It's kind of a fun one. Am I talking too much, Bo?
Well, if you weren't talking as much, then I would be, and I'm not even supposed to be here today. So I think it's going great.
Well, I was just going to say you were getting the tape out, and I was getting a little worried there. I'm sorry.
No, that's for. I'm not a presenter.
Okay, all right. So this is a static sample, and it's really great. It's a nice place to start. But I want to switch out, and I want to look at something moving. And one of the things I brought, I don't know if you can see. Oh, there I am. I'm in the corner. I've got a sample of plankton that I brought. I collected this morning. Believe it or not, you actually need a permit to collect plankton. So this was collected from the edge of San Francisco Bay, right near the Golden Gate Bridge. If anyone's familiar with the Torpedo Wharf, it's a great place to go if you want a picture with the bridge. It's a lovely spot. Also fishing for striped bass right now. Apparently it's the place. But I use a net. The net has a 60 micrometer mesh. It's kind of a really fine mesh. And I collect the plankton, bring it back, and look at it, and it's wild. And you never know what you're going to find. In the jar over at our booth at the other end of the hall, we have some little tiny jellies and comb jellies that are in the sample. But I split the sample so we could have it here today, and let's switch this out and see what we got. So I'm using a deep well slide. It's going to change the elevation, so I have to get everything back in focus. Give me a second. Let's see. There they come, maybe. I'm going to find something I can actually, there we go. I know there's something there. The problem is I need glasses for one place and not the other. There we go. So that's a lot of diatoms. Oh my word. That's Datylum. So Datylum is a really interesting diatom. It's kind of shaped like a Toblerone. It's a triangle. Oh, and there's some polychaete worms. Let's see if we can do a little better on the brightness there. Not tint, light. Turn it up a little, maybe. So it's jiggling a little bit too because I keep touching it. The more that I mess with and touch it, though.
Yeah. Well. Speaking of jiggle, yeah, piking out. I don't know. It looks like we're up to about a 3.4 earthquake. Oh, here we come on a 6 Richter scale. We probably should have a dedicated holder for the camera.
I don't know if that's shaking more or I'm shaking more here. Hold on. Let's see. We'll find the edge. There we go. There's the edge of the algae. I don't know why it's so bright. I'm getting a lot of light maybe from, let's see, 1, 2, 3, there. So each of those little golden nuggets that you see, those are diatoms. They're called Datylum is the name of that particular kind of diatom. And instead of being round like a drum or long like a stick, they're actually triangular, and they have a little spiky bit comes right out of the center of the valve. Those are polychaete worms. And, I wish I could get that in focus for you. Let's see. It's a really thick sample. Let's see. Podon, the one with the red eye, that's a podon. It'll come back. So this is the downside to using a non-dedicated camera. Let's see. I'll get there. That's too much. Not enough. So a lot of the time what I do, there's one. It's coming. And there it goes. So the organisms that I look at, see, I'm focusing here. We've got a great big polychaete worm coming through. But I wish I could get the brightness right. Because they're really quite amazing. I can try a thinner slide. So since this is kind of a creator, hacker, maker, doer thing space, a lot of what I do is try and try and try and try and try and try again. And a lot of times the really nice picture that you get, or that like 30-second clip of amazing video, you spend an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or more trying to get just the right organism on just the right slide at just the right time, and then catch them before they swim away. So it's one of the parts. See, it's all blurry. It's one of the parts that that people don't often see with all of these amazing nature documentaries and videos. You spend a lot of time working on getting something set up so that you can get this tiny little clip. So imagine doing a nature documentary, but on a microscope instead of on the plains somewhere. I actually have somebody who's a friend of mine who's on a prairie right now. They're out in the prairie. They're filming a nature documentary. It's pretty amazing. All right. Well, we can try to do another slide. Any questions? Go on.
So for someone who just discovered this hobby in like the last 10 minutes, what microscope should they buy?
Okay, well, if you're local.
I'm not.
Oh, shucks. I was going to say, if you're local and you're part of the Microscopical Society, we loan microscopes to our members so that they can try before they buy. A lot of our microscopes have good glass, but they're not brand new. And they get used a lot, and it's a lot of fun. Amazon's got some inexpensive microscopes. And what we like to do with them actually is we hack them so that they can do more than they're designed to do, right? This doesn't have a trinocular port, but I can use my phone, and that works fine. If you want dark field, right, you can use, I'm going to turn the brightness down so I can show people here, hold on, what this looks like when I switch out. Like, this is the dark field patch stop. It's a piece of binder plastic and some electrical tape cut in the right shape. You have to experiment with what's the right shape for your microscope and what's the right shape for your objective. But it's easy. You just need to put it in the right place. So, yeah, there's a lot of resources. Once I get it back in place, then I can turn the brightness up. And hopefully, we'll try and get this almost in focus. There's that polychaete worm. There it goes. I love polychaete worms. They're all over. They're really wonderful. And I just found out that, so I run at Ocean Beach, and I just found out that a lot of the worms that I see poking their tiny little palps up through the sand are actually the polychaete worms that I've been seeing on the microscope. So my next thing I want to do is go out to the beach with a shovel and dig them out and find them, because they're so cool when they're larvae, and I'd really love to see them as like their adult self. Slide. I was going to try another slide, see if we can do something smaller. So when I collect the plankton, it's with a net. You can also just scoop up pond water. Pond water is really, really fun. Over at our booth, we have a sample of pond water from Lily Pond, and be happy to show you what's in there. Fresh water is also easier to keep. Unfortunately, my family doesn't always appreciate me keeping jars and jars and jars and jars of pond water on the windowsill in my kitchen. But, you know, they're like tiny little universes. And there's some really amazing critters in them. Do you have a question?
Sure.
Okay.
Do you remember your booth address?
Oh,
Okay, so
I'm in this hall.
Yeah, in this hall over there on
By
one
the
of
men's
the ends,
restroom.
There's a projection screen like this with images like this and a
Yep.
bunch of microscopes on the table.
Yep.
So if you go over there, you will find a similar booth. She will be there later. There are people there now with more microscopes if you want to see more.
There are people there now. And what's really fun is we're doing, our booth is a mashup of biological to metallurgical microscopy, so we're collaborating with another group, and it's silica to silicon because we look at diatoms that have cell walls of silica. Really, really cool. Those little golden nuggets, cell walls of silica. However, we use microchips in almost everything else that we're doing here today, so they're everywhere. They're pervasive, just like the diatoms in the ocean. So it's a nice crossover from the biological to the metallurgical. But I'm going to try and get another sample. Let's see if that works. But maybe this will be a little bit less dense and we'll be able to see something a little bit better. Any questions? Oh, that's a proton. I feel like the image is zoomed in even more on the screen than it's zoomed in on my phone. Like I don't know. Because I'm seeing more things here than I'm seeing there. It's like it's cropped. Woo! So that's what I was asking. I'm going to rotate my phone into the horizontal orientation, and we'll see if that works. Because you're like missing half of what's here. All right, now I just jiggled the slide too. We'll see if that's any better. It would help if I used my glasses, huh? A barnacle. Worm. It's like driving by and reading street signs. It's the obvious, right? Naming what you see as it swims by. There's a polychaete worm. I think that's better. Is that better? It's a webcam app. I have no idea. It's also a microscope that does weird mirroring. Right? Forwards is backwards. Ah. Yay. So hopefully that'll be a little bit better. Maybe I have a little more control. All right. There's that polychaete worm swimming into a sea of datillum. All right. One of the things I can do, let's see if we can go to the other side of this and see if we see anybody else. I often see microplastics. Microplastics are a big problem in the ocean. Let's see. I need to look up there when I'm focusing. There we go. Oh, there's a siphonaut up in the corner, that little triangle thing. It's a siphonaut. It's a baby bryozoan. When it grows up, it's going to settle down and make a colony of clones surrounding it. Little baby barnacles who will also glue themselves down and never, ever move again. Go ahead.
What's the one that's kind of moving in a circle pattern?
There's one moving in a circle. Hold on.
Or like a chaotic, like, circle
Oh, with the
spiral.
red eye?
It's really small.
Really small. Okay, hold on.
It looked kind of like a giardia.
Hold on, let's see. Like what?
There it is. It looks sort of like giardia. It's like got a
You're gonna have to step up and point it out because I'm like that one. No. They do a lot of that. They slow down eventually right before they die. Sorry. Oh.
I can talk.
I bumped something. Connecting.
He's hiding behind the monitor.
I froze. Is it me or you? Oh, it's back. Thank you.
Hey, paw print. When you're done.
So much technology. Oh, look at that. Invisible Friends Unite. That's us. We're over at the other end of the hall. Right across from the men's restroom.
That's got to be an interesting place
so
to collect samples.
A lot of times, I'm sorry, what was that?
I said that's got to be an interesting place to collect samples.
You know, the thing is, there are no biohazards allowed on my microscopes. So if you have your own microscope, you can do as you please. However, the microscopes I share, no biohazards. Oh, there it goes, polychaete worm. All right, I'm going to try trading out this slide for another one just to see if we have anything on it. It might be a little less busy. Also maybe a little less algae. I'm going to put the microphone down for a second. All right, here we come. Oh, we've got Noctiluca. Hold on. Down there, those two little balls, we're going to move them up. And I'm going to zoom in on them because they're floating on the surface. So those, oh, there they go. They're going to get blown to the edge. Those are Noctiluca, also known as sea sparkles. If I can get it in focus, hold on. There it is, almost. There it goes. All right, we'll zoom out. There's a lot more of them. They're just drifting every time I bump them. There they are, look at that. Noctiluca everywhere. So Noctiluca bioluminesce, and that's why they're called sea sparkles. We actually have bioluminescent plankton in the bay here, and if you want to see it, you need to go someplace where there's a lot less light. And there's a lot of light here around the bay. The nearest place that I know that you can go is up near Tamales Bay. It's beautiful. If you're safe and know how, you should go out kayaking after dark, only if you know how, or go with a guide, hire a guide. But they're really beautiful, and it sparkles. It's like, who needs Avatar when you have this in real life, locally? Almost year round now. But here we go. They're all off to the side. There's some more. So one of the things to consider when you're using a microscope is having a really stable platform, because every little vibration you have is amplified. And it's amplified through the eyepiece. It messes with your slides. Oh, and there was a rotifer. Hold on. So the nice thing about the Noctiluca, once I get them almost in focus, stop touching it, as they're drifting by, you can see they have a little tentacle. It's not a tail. They are dinoflagellates, but that long, slow-moving thing is actually a tentacle. Oh, and that was a comb jelly. Oh, my God. Wait, we have a comb jelly? Okay. I can track that down in a minute, maybe. There's just too much stuff on the slide. Hold on. See if we can get that worm in focus. It's going to come back around. There it comes. So there's just so much here. That's a phoronid, that one strange-looking worm that's now shooting off to the side. Phoronid worms turn into benthic organisms. They're also called horseshoe worms because they make this funny little horseshoe shape with their tentacles. They actually have tentacles. They are fun little space-like creatures. But one of the comments I get often is that it looks like you're looking at the night sky, and maybe not with this busy image, perhaps. He's not here. Don't pay any attention to him. Don't look at the man behind the curtain.
It's a little minor vandalism.
Vandalism works, only if it's positive. Thank you, Bo. All right. So we do, oh, look, there it goes. And it's gone. There's actually quite a few phoronids. I have a broken cover slip. I'm going to try and add on here and see if that helps. So when you use a drop of water on a slide, one of the things that happens is the drop bubbles. There's like a rounded bit of bubble, and it's like the surface tension from the water that's making it do that. And that shape is a problem if you want to focus on things in a narrow plane of focus. So a cover slip will help flatten the drop. Unfortunately, on my way over here, I broke my cover slip. So we're going to use a broken cover slip here. Hold on. And it's going to make everything move and hopefully not squish anything. Just There we go. Now it'll be a little less shaky, like Blair Witch of the Plankton. There we go. And now, let's see if we can get some of those worms in better focus. They often move so quickly initially, but then they slow down. Don't we all? We all slow down after a while. All right. We have some baby barnacles over here. Fun fact about barnacles. This little, where to go? There it is. That little barnacle, I keep going the wrong way. It is mirrored because normally I can drive. That one that's flopping right in the middle of the screen is a baby barnacle. It has little horns. It starts out its life as plankton, drifting around, and then it has the urge to settle down. Sometimes, like us humans, we'll settle down. We'll pick a space we really like. We decide this is where we belong, and then they glue themselves head first onto something hard, and they stay stuck there for the rest of their lives. The cool thing is they eat with their feet. They're filter feeders, but when they're babies, they're in the plankton, completely nomadic, drifting around. So what I really like to do is look at stuff on microscopes. So I could do this for hours, and I have. Wait, come back.
Okay, well, you are halfway into your hour of doing this.
Wait, hour? I thought it was a half hour.
Okay, you're a half an hour in, almost, and the next scheduled community talk is 3:30, so at your leisure.
Well, thank you so much. I will see if there's any questions, and then I actually have a volunteer covering our booth while I'm here, and I feel a little bit guilty about leaving them all alone over there to man the station. So are there any questions? Any questions? No? Well, you can always stop by. We'll be over near the men's restroom at the other end of this hall, Hall A, or I don't know what's called, the South Hall. It has like 3 different names. But if you're interested, we'll be at the Triple Rock Brewery in Berkeley on Wednesday night from 5 to 8, hanging out with microscopes, probably this one.
So what is this? You go to bars and bring a microscope?
I go to bars and I bring microscopes. My husband and I will take some time. Once a week I get to go out and play, and I take my toys. So microscopes are my toys I like to play with, and I bring them. People stop by. Some people are intentionally there for the microscopes. Other people come for a beer, and they walk in and they look at you like, what are you doing? And then they have a beer, and then on the way out, they're like, I need to know what you're doing. And they want to look, and they want to see, and they want to have a conversation, and that's a lot of fun. So yes, I take microscopes to bars.
What does beer look like in a microscope?
Well, that's interesting you should ask. So the beer itself is fairly clear most of the time. Not much to look at, but the foam, the bubbles on top, that head on the beer, that's fun. And actually some of the darker beers have a very nice bubble shape. And we look at it, we image it, pretty much anything people bring in, but no biohazards in the bar. Pollen and flower petals and salt and sugar. I've put espresso martini bubbles on the microscope. So there's a lot of different things that we look at. And if you have something you'd like to see, stop by. We'll be happy to show you on the microscopes over at the booth, or swing by Triple Rock on Wednesday night from 5 to 8. How about that? Sound good?
All right. Well, hang on a minute. I have a question.
You have a question.
Is there? Yes. Do we have a MC, or are they just leaving you here to figure this out by yourself?
I think it's you. Thank you for being the MC and helping me out.
Well,
I appreciate
this microphone says MC, so if anybody does have questions, you have your own microphone. So last call for questions about microscopes. and we have the fantastic Janai here, representing SF Micro Society. Their QR code is right here. Their booth is on an end. You'll notice it'll have a big projector and a bunch of microscopes in front, and be very close to the men's restroom. So you'll be able to find Janai there for the rest of the day and tomorrow.
Yep.
And we really want to thank you for coming and being our beta tester of our community talks here. So if we could get some applause and noise here for kicking things off.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, what does that say? So at 3:30, we'll be returning with Do the Thing, Anxiety and Making. If anybody would like to fill the time between now and 3:30, come and do something. Come and talk to us or just hang out, play games, check out all the exhibitors. But we'll be here all day. Thanks, and time for the beat. Well, any final words, and then we'll fade to beats.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to hang out, but I really appreciate being able to be here. It's been a lot of fun. This is my first open sauce, but I do a lot of events and take microscopes a lot of places. So this is good.
Well, it may be your first, but would you believe you've been to half of every open sauce event ever?
Ooh.
So there's a bit of a memification. Like, according to the higher ups, this is open sauce 24. Like, it's 2024.
Right.
And a lot of people are like branding stuff like Open Sauce 2024. I don't think that's in the style guide. So I'm penciling out the 0, and we're calling this OS2.
Nice.
Open Sauce 2.
I like
that. And we are in 2024. But hopefully you'll get your batting average up to 66.666% next year. And we'll go for OS3.
I like it. It sounds like fun. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'll have to spend more time finding plankton, and maybe actually next year I'll bring a beer.
Wait, you're going to bring beer?
Hey, well, maybe not free beer, but a beer for me to look at under the microscope.
Oh yeah, something with bubbles. And for the live studio audience that isn't watching this yet, but maybe in the future. Oh, this is perfect.
Isn't this good?
I'm gonna put my I consent to my beard and my feet being recorded, but I do see, although it's being cropped, it's probably in frame the rest of my face. So we'll just do this. But just because I realize there's been this voice behind the curtain the entire time. If you're not actually here, you can't. Would you please take this seat and add a voice that I would rather hear than the sound of my own voice? Because I'm gonna hear plenty of it later. Please, will you take this chair?
Ooh.
We fortunately have a professional interviewer here, so I can go back to emceeing.
Well, you are now.
Can I untangle your feet? Okay, so we're
I'll be
temporarily
professional.
rebranding MC is now interviewer and interviewee.
Matthew.
Of course.
I'm live now, so I'm going to go online. Check and see if you have
Yeah. I can. Yeah, definitely.
Sorry for that.
No.
Sorry for that interruption. I want you to come and say. Sorry for the interruption. I want you to come and say hi and join the interview and hear about your microscope. Do you carry it everywhere that you go? Do you carry it into? Well, I wonder. I'd love to go hiking with a microscope. There's so many cool things you can see.
Right. So if you want to go hiking with a microscope,
Yes.
there are field scopes that you can bring with you.
Yeah.
I do have a microscope that I carry in my bag when I go on a boat or on a hike.
Field scope.
Field scope. It's like the size of a small lunchbox or a little tiny purse.
Is it light? Is it something?
It is.
Oh, awesome.
It is. It works. I mean, it's not. So there are paper microscopes you can get, like fold scopes,
Yeah.
and they work really well, but they're also a little bit fiddly. They're practically indestructible. They're great to tuck in your bag, but the image that you get is going to be different every time you go up and quality with the lenses of a microscope. It improves what you see, kind of like cameras, right? When you upgrade to that new phone and you get the new camera, and all of a sudden there's something that's
Always
just,
a little different, yes.
right? So the same is true with microscopes.
Okay. Well, I wonder, I mean, what about the quality of what you can see with a lightweight microscope? One of the things I'd be interested in seeing is when you go to the beach, the individual sand particles have life forms between the sand.
That's right, yes.
And I'd love to be able to actually see and interact with those life forms the way that you can with crabs and other things on the beach. Would I be able to do that with one of those microscopes, or do I have to take the material home?
Well, so a field scope you could definitely bring with you and look at things.
Okay.
The issue with the interstitial organisms, the ones that like live inside between the sand grains, is they really like to stay between the sand grains, and it's hard to get them out. It's hard to get them out to like do what they do away from the sand grains.
Yes.
So sometimes it takes a really long time sitting and fiddling with sand grains and slides and redoing the sand grains and the slides until you find what you're looking for.
Sure.
Because it's like when you go out bird watching, or if you go hiking in the woods and you're looking for a plant or fungus. Ooh, I can't even speak anymore. You often spend a lot of time looking for what you're interested in seeing, but you don't always see it, and it's a lot like that on a microscope.
Sure.
So yes, you could see the organisms between the sand grains, but it would take the looking,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder too about going into some of not only going out into wildlife, but going into some of the places that one goes to every day, like the grocery store. And if you're seeing like fish scales, can you be right there in the store or in the locations and actually interact with the food and interact with the items that you're looking at? I know people might react a little strangely. Have you ever done that?
So not in a grocery store, but at a bar with
really?
the drinks that you order. I often will like look at bits of them. Or order them in particular because I want to see something from them. Like if you get a margarita with salt on the rim and you want to look at the salt from the margarita, it's kind of nice to have a microscope handy. Or the bubbles from an espresso martini. There's a lot of fun things to look at that come with and on drinks. You can take a microscope on a picnic.
Oh, yes. Oh, of course.
And it would probably be a little bit better appreciated than a grocery store.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a farmer's market actually would be an especially beautiful place to have a microscope.
Oh, I can imagine. The farmer's market in Hayward is just spectacular. It's a small city here in the Bay for folks who don't know about it. I don't know where our camera is, by the way. Should I be looking at?
I think it's over there.
Okay. There's the farmer's market in Hayward, California. Big shout out to it. Wonderful place. But I'd love to see the oils from the oranges and what that looks like. And
interesting. So I don't know much. I don't know much about looking at oils.
Yeah.
I do know that with microscopes you often use oil to help see other things.
Really? Okay.
But very specialized oils for managing the light.
I can imagine because of the sheen of the oils. Do you see any? Well, I guess the microscopes can only go. The ones that you're carrying, these are not electron microscopes.
No. But electron microscopes are really cool.
Yeah.
But they don't do very well with liquids.
Oh.
Scanning electron microscope is good at seeing the surfaces of things, but not so much liquids. Most scanning electron microscopes, you need to look at whatever you're looking at in a vacuum.
Okay.
And when you create a vacuum, if there's moisture, it ends up volatilizing or going up into the air.
Oh, cool. So what are the more unusual places you've taken your microscope? The idea of taking it to the bar sounds so tempting to me.
It is.
What are the places?
On a boat, on a kayak.
Hiking. Oh, nice.
I fly with it on the plane, so it's gone through TSA in my backpack. Playgrounds.
Being challenged by TSA. It's only a microscope.
Surprisingly, I've had a harder time with salami at TSA than I have with a microscope. Don't know why.
There we go.
But yeah, any place, just camping. I've gone camping with a microscope.
Yeah. I can imagine bringing kids around a microscope, taking it to places that children are. That kind of imagination can be quite exciting. But are these things that can be harmed, these microscopes? Or how delicate are they, especially the field microscopes?
Yeah, so, they're tools like anything else, right?
Yes.
And they have mechanical parts, which if you break, you can fix. So that's not such a big deal.
Okay.
I do really think it's important for children to have access to microscopes, but at the same time, if you would not hand your child binoculars, I probably wouldn't hand them a microscope. So it's a similar skill and care that would be taken between the two types of tools. But that being said, there are magnifying glasses that I think should be accessible for children to use before they get to the microscope itself.
Okay. I love the idea of accessibility for children. I think we hold so much back from them.
I know, right? It's okay to play, right? But I really do think it's okay for the adults to play too.
Yes.
And while we want to encourage the children, I think it's also important that we encourage the adults that are around them.
Yes.
Because we model for our children what's acceptable and fun.
Absolutely true. The same way that you read to your child and you read around your child. So you should experiment in front of your child.
Right.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
I grew up not too far from a field, and we used to go running in the field catching bugs. It's so much fun. And finding all sorts of things like bug wings on the ground and looking at them through a microscope would be so... I want to get one of these microscopes. I want to build one. What resources, where would I go to find the resources to build a microscope?
Wow. So one of our members, actually several of our members have built their own microscopes. I have never done that. It's not something that I am proficient at.
Okay.
Although I am comfortable taking them apart and messing with them and trying to fix them. And I would suggest to build a microscope. So I would suggest to join the Microscopical Society. Sorry.
Give us your website and everything. Where's the mic? Where's the camera again?
There's a QR code. We're the sfmicrosociety.org. That's
Can they
us.
see the QR code?
I don't know. If they're here, they can.
Maybe we can post it on our website or post it somewhere near the YouTube channel as well.
Wow.
We'll figure that out.
But yeah, so I would suggest that only because we're a community of people that support each other in those types of endeavors. So
Wonderful.
we don't teach a class in it, but if you ask questions, you can say, "Oh, I'm working on assembling my condenser and I'm stuck."
Yeah.
Anybody ever experienced this? And there will be people who will support and answer.
Sounds really fascinating.
It's fun.
I live right next to the bay now, literally right next to the bay. We walk along the water, and I would love to see a comparison between freshwater, brackish water, and salt water, and the organisms that live in it. I think there are some great experiments percolating.
So much fun. So if you swing by our booth, we actually have freshwater and marine, so I could share with you.
Love it.
If you're interested.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Cool.
I'm going to check on our time because it's time now. Oh,
Perfect
timing.
Yeah. So
talk for another hour. This is really great.
I have a question. Who's been doing the interview?
Oh.
Yes.
My name's Ellen. Ellen McBarnett, but I'm known as L Writes on Discord. L with Noisebridge. L Writes on Discord, L at Noisebridge, and this was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. It's so much fun meeting you. I'm really glad that I had the opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So we're going to be taking a little break here, and then we'll be back at 3:30 with the next community talk.
It's a community-run makerspace in the area.
Cool. Can we boost yellow a little more? So, where's Philadelphia? Philadelphia, where I was born and raised. Something about hip hop and Fresh Princes.
Yeah, good show from the last century.
That sounded nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Are we good on? Is that feeling good for audio? Okay. So. No. Can we flash them up to just do a quick test? Okay, when you're ready.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, that looks good. 5 minutes to showtime. Excellent.
Okay.
So yeah, take a load off, take a break, and we'll get going.
Sounds good.
And I don't know, I might, since I sat down, I might just green is the new MC. Yeah. Okay, cool. And there's 2 more mics. Kingsbridge. And we've got Evan, the events coordinator for their local hackerspace, Hive 76, talking to us about doing the thing, anxiety and making. So it's yours.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Yeah, I think all of us makers have had some time in our life where we've been working on a project and trying to progress in our skill set, that we've run into a roadblock where we thought we weren't good enough or didn't understand how to move forward, comparing ourselves to those around us. There's no one solution for such things, but chatting with a lot of people and working with a lot of different orgs in Philly, I tried a few different things, and I've found a few different ways that have been good to get over the anxiety and hopefully do the thing and make cool things. So, you can get next slide. Yeah, next slide. So, a lot of times I found there's a few different ways that anxiety can creep in, and a few different ways that you can come across it. The first is viewing other people's work. A lot of times it's very easy to look at people who are somewhat ahead of you in a skill set and think that it's impossible to get there or compare your work to where they are now. As that goes, it makes it difficult to sometimes work on a project. I found oftentimes there are two things to definitely keep in mind with this. One is that everyone starts somewhere and they have X amount of years more than you do. It sometimes does help to look back on other people's work throughout the years, because often the things that you think that they're doing so much better than you, they were doing the exact same when they started at the same level that you are. Sometimes helps being able to put in perspective that it takes time to learn certain skills, and even if it seems like things are stagnating, often you are still picking up things as it goes. Also, worth noting that it's a lot easier to see flaws in your own projects than it is others around you. Almost every single person that's made something cool has had at least one aspect of it that's jank as hell. There's no perfect project. At that point, it's a product, and that means if you're not seeing it on a shelf, odds are there's something weird that can go wrong with it. And if you do see it on the shelf, odds are there's something weird that can go wrong with it that they put some super glue or a case over to keep you from getting to. Always keep in mind that 9 times out of 10, the flaw that you see is something that no one's even going to think to look for. And even if they do, they're going to be more impressed with the fact that you actually made something than the fact that it isn't perfect in every single regard. Continuing with it, not knowing where to start. A lot of people have issues where they'll come up with an amazing idea and then end up in a 30-hour rabbit hole on YouTube trying to figure out what exact component goes with this, and do I really need this thing called flux to go with the solder, and then what's the difference between rosin and flux, and how do I, and then you end up, a lot of people can burn out trying to find exactly the specific thing for what they're going for. What I found helps out is finding a community for yourself. Local events, meetups, conventions, happy hours, these are things that often people will come across and be able to find others with a similar passion. Remember, if someone is a nerd about something, they want to share that info. Oftentimes, it's people who are very passionate and want someone to talk to about the thing. It's usually not a hassle if you can go up to someone and with a genuine question, they'll point you in the right direction. And building these community groups really helps with both yourself learning those things and where to go to save on time, and also helping others. Odds are you know something that others don't, and you can bring a lot to the table to help other people deal with their project fatigue, and also gives you perspective to show, no, you do know what you're doing, you're on the right track. Other than that, also, maker spaces and hacker spaces. We're all over the world. Odds are if you're in a large city, you can find at least one of us. If you're in San Francisco, you can find literally a dozen. Look out for the places that seem right for you. A lot of spaces deal with different niches, but there's a ton of them out there, and all of them are filled with people who specifically put their time to run an org that is losing money so that they can make cool shit. Never feel bad about coming in to ask about a project. Even if they can't help you, I guarantee that someone there is going to know something to be able to point you in the right direction. It's all about the community, and if you can build that or find that somewhere, that's something that will definitely help both your current project and building out the overall feel and knowledge base for things to come. And if you're unfortunately unlucky enough not to have a makerspace or similar groups near you, you can start your own. Genuinely, having a meetup page or even a Facebook reoccurring event, most people are not going to question if they see an event pop up, does this person know how all of this works? Odds are, if you know enough to set up an event, people with similar mindset will join you, and you end up having a good time. It's truly a community situation, and doing more of these things means that you can be one of those resources for others while also gaining those resources for yourself. It's not a zero-sum game. It's adding value for everyone. And the third item on the list is fear of failure. And fortunately and unfortunately, you are going to fail a lot, often, in weird and unusual ways. And honestly, that's a good thing. Most of the time, that means that you are going into things that you've never done before or using techniques that can help grow. And honestly, failure is only a problem if you decide that the view of failure is bad. I know that might be a weird thing to say, but honestly, failure just means you found another way of not doing something. There's only so many ways of not doing something before you find a way of doing it. As long as you can surround yourself with people that are more excited about the process and trying to make something cool instead of looking at you and wondering why it doesn't keep working, you're able to do more cool things and honestly work on projects. There are a lot of people out there that just want to work on different things, enjoy the process, enjoy the company, and those are the kind of vibes you can look for. And next slide. And truly going through all of this, there's no one set of resources, but I've collected a few links of places that some people can start, whether it's electronics, cosplay, like wearables, different things. A lot of resources exist out there, and resources that exist to help point you in the direction of other resources. Hopefully you can find your communities, and if not, build your own to be able to make cool shit. Thank you.
So, for other resources, are you familiar with hackerspaces.org?
I am. I believe you guys are helping out with the poll for them for local hacker and maker spaces in your areas.
Yeah. There's I guess there's an ongoing consensus.
Census. Yeah.
We're in Noisebridge, not at Noisebridge. Are we in Noisebridge? Are we at Noisebridge? We're at Noisebridge's booth here at OpenSauce, and Noisebridge is possibly famously known for running on consensus. But what I meant to say is there is a census of hackerspaces and makerspaces. So hackerspaces.org is a wiki, and we're encouraging all the spaces to update their information, let us know if they're open or closed or new, and that's another great resource to find people. So how do you feel when you're working on a project? I imagine you're kind of in your own zone, doing your own thing, but do you find a challenge if you're isolated? Like, do you like being around other people and being able to get a little support just by being oh, there's other humans out there doing things too?
Yeah, it's, again, a lot of the times the projects themselves, they are both more and less complicated than you give them credit for, and it's just figuring out what not to do, which a lot of the times is what the community helps with. Having people that you can talk to that actually have done similar things, even if not the same, they can help point you in a direction to save you hours of time and a bunch of frustration. Because a lot of the times, it's not necessary if you are able to at least get that little bit of insight from other people.
Yeah, I find some people are a bit masochistic and want to run their head into a wall, and then eventually might get tired of that and ask for help. But certainly it's fun to learn on your own, but it's great to leverage knowledge from others.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see I don't know if we have any questions out here, but we do have a Q&A mic. If anybody would like to ask a question about making hacking challenges with doing the thing and some anxieties around that. But I heard you had a bit of an anxiety-inducing challenge of, where am I supposed to go? There's somebody that knows how this whole conference is running and where all the booths go, and then you literally roll up and you're like, so where am I?
Yeah. So in this case, I've been actually just running a mobile station. So it has been a little bit of coordination, but I've been keeping a map of the spaces and pinging people for their ID to be able to actually track them down across the spaces. I just be able to do some on-site repairs for them.
Well, very cool. Yeah, I think one of the cool things going on here is everybody's here to help each other out. You know, some folks are bringing projects. Some folks, their project is looking for somebody's project to help out. I think that's super, super excellent. Can you tell us a bit more about Hive 76 and maybe how you got here? And
So Hive 76 is a community makerspace in Philly. We've been around for over a decade and have just been trying to help promote the maker culture in Philadelphia and beyond. I actually joined a couple of years ago, which actually, shout out to Scotty from Strange Parts. His video on Noise Bridge was the one that introduced me to makerspaces and helped me track down Hive before I ended up joining.
Well, fantastic. Yeah, shout out to Scotty. It's funny. I was just giving them a ping. I know them from Noise Bridge before they blew up and became super internet famouses and left the country for Shenzhen. Hopefully they'll maybe come pay us a visit and we'll get to chat with them a bit more. But yeah, they did a great tour of our previous space in San Francisco Mission District. And so a lot of people, including yourself, kind of discovered, hey, there's this thing. And that inspired you to look up your own space and has been part of your journey to getting here.
Yeah, I've been helping out, ended up becoming the events coordinator. So being able to do stuff like this, pop-ups around Philly. We do a cosplay repair station at the Comic-Con in the city. And then ended up recently becoming the operations manager for Philly Maker Fair. So it's essentially went to enough events at one point that I had the arrogance, I guess, to be like, no, I could do that. And I don't know who coined the term, but there's the old maker saying, we do not do this because it is easy. We do it because we thought it was going to be easy. And I have had to learn that over and over again, but it does lead to greater and weirder things.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly great. Can you tell us what's the Philly Maker Fair like? Is that an annual event?
Yeah, Philly Maker Fair is annual. This past year, we've got about 1,000 people that ended up coming through, and had about 50 exhibitors showing projects across from like the Philly area, Jersey, and it's a lot of fun. We're trying to build it up as a nice community event. So open source does it really well as well here, but trying to make it so that it's not just a corporate sponsorship event that has a million booths trying to sell you something, but actually showing projects and nonprofits and community-based organizations in the city that people can walk through and actually like join up with. Because 90% of the battle isn't actually having an org that someone wants to go to. It's either someone finding that org or chatting with them long enough to feel comfortable to actually go in person. And if we can create a nice event to be able to promote that for others, I find that a valuable resource.
Well, very cool. Do you have any other projects or events or particular things that you're looking forward to after this?
Project-wise, I'm finally going to probably do a V2 of the jacket that I'm wearing. Got the shoulder lights as well as the back panel.
Yeah, let's get the front and back. So we got the Hive 76 with a nice lot of glowy. So is that 3D printed onto the jacket or glued on? How did this come together?
So this is a fabric-colored laser-cut acrylic with 3D printed threaded inserts. It's a very janky system. And the next version, I'm hoping I'm going to be doing a grommeted panel on the back to allow me to swap out the different panels to allow me to make the jacket whatever I want it to be. So I have a general idea of how I can do that. It's just going to be a little bit of playing around and figuring out what the proper setup should be, so I'd be able to put different sizes, shapes, and all that on there easily.
All right, very cool. Well, I don't know if you have anything else you want to touch on, or I'm kind of tempted to dig into some random drawers and see what your go-to must-travel with paraphernalia is. And did you fly out here? Was that all checked?
That is a
carry-on?
one checked bag. Was able to fit everything in, so I can drag it over you if you want.
Well, let's dig in. We pile it on top here, or yeah, I can probably get it. Maybe we'll start with the, oh yeah, there we go. Big lift. Perfect.
So yeah, I have a few different drawers. The top one, I have soldering equipment, some spare electronics boards for people's projects.
And I love this, like, you can't quite see it, but it's a full-on, like, ball-bearing rail there.
Yep.
Yeah. What?
Yep. I've also just for the event.
Oh, yeah, you can, yeah, if you actually drop it right in front of the table.
Okay, one moment.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a nice view.
Yep. So the front of it, I had the electronics, some spare wires, magnets, self-adhesive pin backs, which was able to give DigiKey. So I had a component that DigiKey needed. Kind of proud of that. As well as we've had a sticker swap. So since I've been one of only a few mobile exhibits, I've been going around grabbing stickers from every booth so that people who can't leave their booth are able to grab different stickers that they want.
So you're going around, you leave a sticker, grab a sticker, you've got all kinds of different graphics. Oh, we're at the Cow Palace. Holy cow.
Yep, got a nice selection here, yeah. Second drawer. Yeah.
So do you have any strategy? I guess you don't have too much crazy like test equipment or electrostatic sensitive. You can just kind of put it all in one checked rig and off it goes.
A little bit, yeah. We do have some test equipment. The bottom section actually has a Dremel, heat gun, hot glue gun, tester for multimeter, every type of tape that you could imagine. So it's somehow did not get stopped by TSA. I've gotten stopped for a key lime pie before, but not a box of wires and electronics boards. But yeah,
Very, very cool.
but
So,
down here is just
tapes,
Yeah.
tape measure, glues, protein.
some spare switches, snacks to keep me sane.
What are these caramels?
Lozenges for the people talking so that their throat
Right.
doesn't get bad.
Well, being the one talking.
Yep. And then bottom drawer, some more super glue, some potentiometers, a resin, flexible resin, so in case someone needs to cover a wire up, Velcro, and a few spare components for 3D printing. So have a few hooks as well as a few spare Creality belts in case things go wrong. And then the bottom section just has the tools that I was mentioning previously, as well as some like scissors, cutters, and all that. Just the basic things that people might need in case something goes wrong. I pooled a bunch of people beforehand, as well as was just looking through the exhibitor list, thinking to myself what I would need if something went wrong for me. So haven't had everything that people needed, but I've gotten probably like 70-80% of the requests that have come in. I've had something that's been able to solve it, and been proud of that.
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, I love the idea of roaming around. Have you seen? There's a repair vehicle that's got a full-on oxyacetylene welding torch and some heavy-duty gear, 2 bamboo 3D printers. Like
A little bit above my pay grade in this way, but I can get around the hall without security stopping me for a vehicle.
yeah, well, that's a great stash, and really appreciate you joining us and bringing all of this. And if anybody has any questions, again, we've got a great hacker maker here, and it's been fun having you here. I'm glad you took the time to come by and talk to us.
Glad that you guys were here, and again, we'll shout out Noisebridge too, because they've also helped out a bunch of the exhibits around here with needing different bits to help keep the booths alive. So,
well, very good. And I guess I don't know who all we have watching at home today, but we are at Open Sauce. Last year we were on a pier. Today and tomorrow we're in a cow palace. So I don't know what's still left for tickets and cost and things, but I will mention if you're a hacker and in the area, connected with Noisebridge already or not, we're pretty good. We're always looking for more volunteers, and in particular, when we're packing down and loading out, we'll be interested in extra hands. So if you're looking for a last-minute chance to come check things out and lend a hand, we'll probably find a way to put you to use for breaking things down and getting out of here. And I'm just noticing there's a secret squirrel device duct taped to the back of your case that looks remarkably like a 900-ish megahertz wireless, possibly LoRa technology and Meshtastic integrated something or other?
Something or other. It's because I've been walking around, I've just, the Meshtastic people asked if I could duct tape a Meshtastic unit to the back of the vehicle just to be able to help keep the network going as I've been jumping back and forth. So.
Well, that's super cool. Yeah, so one of my hobbies is flying high altitude balloons.
You don't have the "this is not a bomb" sticker on them, do
I don't
you?
know what you're talking about. I was going to show off this great Meshtastic powered sticker. So KO6 CNT, Benjamin, gave a great talk a couple weeks ago at the Palo Alto Amateur Radio Association, which is just down the bay, all about Meshtastic. And myself and some other folks at SF High Altitude Ballooning were like, hey, we're going to launch a weather balloon. How many things can we attach to it? And so, yes, I ran into them today, and they're like, oh, I have one of these secret sauce stickers that I've been saving, and it says Meshtastic. This is not a bomb in fine print. So, because when you have batteries and wires and antennas and things, what else are you going to assume it is?
And as we know, anytime you go to any official person, if you tell them it's not a bomb, they believe you and don't ask any additional questions.
You know, that, and if you show up in head-to-toe glow-in-the-dark fluorescent colors, waving giant antennas, and say, I'm looking for a weather balloon, people tend to just open doors and ask very few questions.
If you go with confidence, I have made my fair share of mistakes that someone probably should have flagged me down for, but I was either too ignorant or too confident for them to do so. Back in Philly at one point, I was going to a friend's Halloween party, and I was mad scientist outfit, brought some dry ice on the train to their thing. Only after I passed some security guards that I realized, oh, this is dry ice in my backpack. It's literally smoking while I'm wearing a mad scientist outfit. I probably shouldn't do this. And yet was not stopped, because as long as you go in with confidence, 9 times out of 10 you'll get away from it. 1 time out of 10 you might get arrested, so don't take this advice if you're doing anything illegal. I don't know who you are, but I'm talking specifically to you there.
Yeah. And Noisebridge always says, be excellent. And we are hackers. We encourage people to hack and do it excellently, but we also do not encourage or condone illegal activity. Yeah. But we still have a heck of a lot of fun hacking the planet.
Hey, it's about finding issues, trying to solve them, and building the community around that. I think that's kind of what we're all here for.
Community is certainly key, and it's awesome to see it show up and help produce an event like this. So, Evan, I really want to thank you for coming out and talking to us.
Yeah,
there we go, left-handed even. It's mirrored, so it probably looks like we used our right hand. And I've been your host, numeral 6, Echo Alpha Uniform, formerly known as Unicode Point 2169. Ask me later. And it's been a pleasure having you. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and I hope you enjoy tomorrow just as much and make it home safely.
You as well, and definitely will do.
All right, well, thanks. I think we're going to return to our otherwise unscheduled beats, and we'll be back in about a half an hour with one more community stage talk. So thank you all.
just moved up here from San Diego. I mean, right now I haven't built so much recently. I did I just graduated from school last year and then traveled a little bit, took a little break, tried to line up a job, didn't really find anything, so then I just moved up here. I've been trying to get back. Oh
check. Check, check. You can hear me? Okay, I'm hearing it on, play it. So I'm hearing it on my end. I don't know if I'm hearing you. You got to talk at the same time. Yeah, you're still like half a second delayed. I don't know, am I delayed to you? No, not at all. Okay. I can't tell.
So are we cross-streaming the Twitch feed to the YouTube feed? Or are you just previewing? So what's our setup for 4:30? We can go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's your front.
Yep.
And then
Oh, we have a fifth.
yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know, there's supposed to be 5 different. It's going to be yellow, green, then
Two white.
1 stripe, 2 stripe.
Okay.
Well, 1 stripe in the middle, 2 stripe in the blue. Then the MC is going to go to that's going to be next to collector.
Okay, so we'll have.
Just because we do have 5 microphones, one of them is the MC position.
Okay. And so,
MC needs to be brought down from
is this going to be a panel?
Yeah.
So so it's going to be the ISS above group.
Yeah.
Are they coming for tech setup or?
I told you.
Okay.
So I'm going to actually run down there. If they come here, they start getting their mics set up. Yeah, we'll use this one. I'll find the other one. Actually,
That's a Scotty question.
well, thank you. Yeah, I could have gone way higher. It's gotten a bit more crowded, but I'm still getting 30 now, 70 now. For $125, it's amazing. Okay, I need to go check on these.
Okay. Yeah. enough people figure it out. speakers. Yeah, this is going to, there we go. So now you can hear. Thought is fantastic.
I'll tell you, the highlight right now is this chair. I'm really enjoying this chair. No, it's been fantastic. I don't know, it's always the people, the faces, their expressions, frankly, when they see something they're amazed by or interested in. That's my favorite. All over the place, man. All over the place.
I hope you enjoy that chair because it's mine.
I will try not to destroy the chair.
All right, so once we get the cue here, you guys will have the floor for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever you kind of want to do with it.
Great.
Yeah, you may or may not have a building audience, but you do have folks online, and we'll be recording for historical reasons. So, many more folks will see this in the coming days and years.
Awesome.
No pressure, no pressure.
So I have it. So I signed up and found out when they came by that we were accepted for the topic.
Oh, great!
And so then informed these nice folks that I had listed their names as well. So if we could read the topic again, so they know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I believe it has to do with leveraging your makerspace with educators to reach the world, to inspire an addiction in making, something like that.
That sounds like a fantastic title.
Great. Yeah.
Doing cool things with stuff in space.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In particular, space. Yeah, we're leaning on the space part.
Okay, so here we are on planet Earth.
We are.
My hand is a little bit above the surface of the Earth, a little bit closer to space. Where does it go from just being really high to outer space?
You can take this one, Liam.
All right. I'll.
Who are you, Liam?
Who am I, Liam? I ask myself that every morning, and occasionally I come up with the right answer. Hi, everyone. I'm Liam. I'm the inventor of the ISS above, which is a little device that lights up when the space station is above. The space station is in space because it has the word space in front of it. In the middle of it. So to answer the question, officially it is, I believe, 80 kilometers.
100 kilometers.
Common line. But if you are with the U.S. test program, it is 80 kilometers. That's why. Is it blue? Which is the one that no Virgin Galactic doesn't make it to 100K.
Debated.
So, but they still get given commercial astronaut wings when they reach 80 kilometers. But there we go. So
there we go.
So correctly corrected by Brian here that the official is 100 kilometers for the common line.
Yes.
But it does adjust. So we will see. It looks like that one didn't adjust enough. So I'm so glad I didn't get in that one.
Yeah, this is definitely the extra spicy, spontaneously normal programming will be resumed.
That's how
any
people
moment
describe
now.
me.
Here we go.
Yes.
Are we recording for posterity, by the way? We are recording, and we're still queuing up, and we're almost officially ready, but
Okay.
you know, we do have this to draw back on, but we'll do a fresh start, and you can kind of introduce yourself and then do the rounds and everything. But
Or B-roll.
I was just going to ask the interwebs to do the math here, because so 80 kilometers is the start of space, we should say.
62 miles.
Debated. 82.
No, I would say we are in space right now.
Well, very good. Yeah, I would definitely say we. I like that.
So what
I
did
like
you take
that.
before we got here?
So
What did you take before we got here?
But just for reference, 80 kilometers translates to 262,467 feet and 2.304 inches.
Well, I mean, I could have answered
who
that
are
for a
not
minute.
Yeah, if you asked that,
Certainly,
if
we
you'd
would have
asked
done
it
that.
in feet, I would have definitely given you that number.
Right. So we'll leave it for those at home to do the math on what 100 kilometers is. Yeah. Okay, we are fully good to go here. So I am going to advocate. I'm going to possibly get out of here and leave
Okay.
this all to the likes of you, because I think between the four of you, you can totally handle it. And I will just start off by welcoming you to the Noisebridge community stage here at this second edition of Open Sauce in 2024 at this
Awesome.
fine Cow Palace.
Great to be here.
And this will be, I think, our last official talk of today. We'll be back tomorrow to talk Hackspace and then be closing out the event with 5 Minute of Fame talks. So if each of you wants to like polish a tight 5 minutes and like come and do your spiel, be great to see you again tomorrow afternoon. But nonetheless, this grassy floor is now yours. So please take it away.
Awesome. Well, it's so exciting to be here, to be back at Open Sauce. What an incredible place. It's great to be here talking to you, those of you online, and the thousands of people that are here, not for our talk, but that are here as we are talking. Great to have all of them here as well. So we're going to talk about makerspaces. So my name's Brian Murphy. I'm a space engineer, but I've also volunteered as vice president of Creator Space, which is a makerspace in Houston, just a few miles from the Johnson Space Center. And I'm part of that because, like many of you just love making and love facilitating others making things. So makerspaces draw others of our own kind. I feel like as time goes on, we've done a good job of including more and more of the arts, the local community. But what I've seen is it's those people that kind of their own initiative will come to a makerspace. Those are the ones that kind of get enfolded. Those are the ones that are reached. We have events where we'll go out to the community for things like a makerspace night at a school, or a special event like a Comic-Con or something, where we'll go to that as the organization. But one thing we really want to do is build something that can positively affect the world, even though we're a small group, both in the makerspace itself and the kind of community. So what I have here with me today, a number of informal educators, and together, it just so happens through this network of space education informal educators. Did I say education 3 times? I hope so. We've connected through that in our joint passion to inspire students, inspire people to look at space as a place of inspiration, a place where they can play. Just like when we teach our kids, we give our kids, paints to do art. It's not because necessarily we want to become artists. It's because art is fun. You can be creative. So that's my hope. I always say I'm not trying to make more engineers, but instead want to have more people play in the art, in the space of engineering and creation. Brittany, would you mind going next? Introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody that is here and online as well. My name is Brittany Wellborn, former educator, and I currently working for a STEM education company called STEMfinity, where we try to bring hands-on learning to students across the nation and the globe. So I actually met up with Brian at a space education
Space
conference.
Exploration Educators Conference.
That one. Seek, yes. It is one of the best space conferences ever. But he was actually doing a fireside chat with Raspberry Pi on makerspaces. And I was in the process of outfitting 167 makerspaces for the Houston Independent School District. So when I saw Brian talking about creator space, I immediately knew he was somebody that I needed to connect with. We got to talking, and I think it's aptly named Makerspace because we've found a way to combine space and creation. So we work on several different projects, including the ISS Mimic, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Ted, you mind going next?
Right next to the lips here, huh? Hey, everybody. Wow, these shows are absolutely incredible. Dozens and dozens of conversations that one has here. If you're watching this and you haven't gone to one, you should probably get in the car and drive or get in a plane and go. Any kind of event like this. First of all, you've got an idea, you've created something. We put plants in space, so that's pretty cool. I'll tell a little bit about that. But what I love when I'm sharing what I do and when I am able to share what these folks are, amazing stuff they're doing, it's also fun to ask people what they're up to. And they are blowing me away. Oh, I'm a postdoc researcher and this and that, or I'm a welder, or like I'm an arborist, and it's really amazing. I think everyone's like in a walking exhibit, and some people blush when I tell them that, but some are really encouraged and they share their story. What really vibes me up and gets me pumped up is I get to share what we're up to. I mean, Plants for Space, how cool is that, right? But I also get to hear what someone's excited about. And for me, this is kind of emerging for me this last day, is it's like we're all walking around with a Venn diagram of who we are. And what I like to try to do is see those intersections where they overlap. And some people overlap a little bit. Some people might bounce off you a little bit because they don't really kind of resonate and they're doing their thing. That's cool. But sometimes the circles overlap almost completely, and it's like, whoa. Brother from another mother, or, it's like, wow, how come we haven't talked about this before? And those things are catalytic, right? Anyway, I'm super excited about this stuff. Liam, you got stories to tell.
Oh, you threw it over to me? There you go. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm Liam Kennedy, and I guess I'm here really well and truly because of the maker environment, which is really what happens in maker spaces. So I see what's going on out here, and it's just like, this is maker space. Right represented here. Now, our connection with it, most of us here, it's all on the space side of things, and just truly exceptional model over here that's open source. You can build yourself, and I own a little bit of the ISS corner of education because I created the ISS above, which lights up whenever the space station's passing by, and also you plug it into your TV and it shows a whole bunch of stuff. So go check it out. But what was really amazing about all of that is really how it's in quite a few makerspaces. I can think of one in LA, another one in Phoenix, who have them, because I like to have things light up when the space station is passing by. So that's my big thing. So where I'm going with that is just, what we're all about is inspiring people to get interested in space and to follow their own path. And that was really shown today here, I think, through all the conversations that we've had. Some exceptional ones was a young high school student called Theodore. Theodore, if you're watching this, you're awesome. Who was really in the state where he was looking at what he's going to be doing in aerospace. And he didn't know we were going to be here, but he just showed up and had a conversation really with all of us, right, Ted? from you.
yes.
And Brittany, you had a chat with his mom as well, and then Brian. So I think that's what the maker thing is all about. You can be yourself, you can find your path, and do amazing things.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think that's the beauty of open source and other maker events that are intentionally a bit whimsical, lighthearted. So I'm an engineer. So yeah, I get a little more background. So I'm an engineer for the space station and some other space activities. So early in my career, I'll talk about the project and then we can talk about kind of where it led us. But early in my career, I was using data that was pulled from the space station to trend the space station health, particularly related to the rotary joints that point to solar panels, things like that. I was really nerding out. I'm kind of a control systems guy, so enjoyed all that. But it's one of those things where you log in twice to get the data. It's very limited. So then when NASA released a bunch of that data publicly, myself and some other maker types were like, we got to do something with this that really connects the world with what the world came together to build. Because what we'd found at the time, I think is still true, is it's these pockets that are where people feel capable to try new things, where they feel capable to do things like be an engineer or work in space or even tinker in this stuff. And as a white guy, I've never really I've had role models always, right? Everybody who landed on the moon looks like me. And so what we really need is more representation and more proactive work to reach all the communities locally around the world, demographically, regionally, to give them an opportunity to connect with what humanity is doing in space. So we came up with this project, ISS Mimic. We call it that because what it does is it's using some of that live data to command motors embedded in a 3D printed model to sync up the arrays in the model with the real space station. There's tons of other information available. This is what NASA thinks that the world would like to see. Things like the pressure in the cabin, temperature and coolant lines, but also how full is the urine tank. All of you can get access to a live stream of data.
No.
It was pretty full last time I checked.
Pretty full. 63% full, I think, when we last.
70
70 something?
70 something. It
That's
hit 70.
coffee. That's coffee tomorrow.
So it was 63% earlier. So yeah.
Somebody.
Some people are
it's going up
utilizing
there.
the capabilities of the space station.
Saturday.
Thank you, taxpayers. So the idea is let's create an open source design that's educator friendly, student friendly, nerd friendly. Get the price as low as we can. Use some common components like Raspberry Pi and Arduino, which are already part of the maker movement. Use that to create a design that anyone can build. So that's what we did. Initially it was a bunch of engineers, so we overdid it. We made it too complicated and too challenging for school teachers to try to fit in their busy schedule. So what you see now is not what we started with. If you go to issmimic.space, you can see the interview with Joe Telling, 3D Printing Nerd did with us about it. That's still kind of the one we bring to events. We have that at our booth now. It was too big to bring to this.
1/100 scale. This would be the 1/200.
That's right. Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, that's 1/100th. This is 1/200th. Thank you for that. It uses some more complex motors. It can do things like continuously rotate, like the real one. Lots of other nerdy aspects that I'd love to talk about for a long time. I'll refrain myself. But what we did is, as Brittany mentioned, where I met her, the Space Exploration Educator Conference, is also where I met other teachers. And we would take that model there, and they loved it, but it's just too much. So working with educators like Brittany and Amy and Javier, if you're watching.
Hey, Javier.
That is
Love
awesome. We came up with this smaller design. This one's a little rough from the transit over, but yeah, these are 3D printed solar array wings. I should have taken that one. Yeah, so 3D printed vinyl cut stickers on there. We also decided to make it Lego compatible because why not?
Why not?
Why not? Most of us have the ISS model, Lego model anyway, and then our LEDs are no longer reacting. We didn't bring the Pi with us, but I have to say Raspberry Pi has been an amazing supporter of this volunteer project. They've donated dozens of Raspberry Pis for kits that we've built like this, and those kits have gone across the U.S. and now across the world. So, please.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have access, to bring this kind of back to the makerspace arena. To have access to a makerspace, I think is super important. I didn't learn to code until I was a teacher, and my students were on Scratch making their own video games when I said, that's really awesome. Show me how to do that, right? Which led me to then kind of go down this rabbit hole of getting into 3D printing. And when I was introduced to the makerspace, it really just stuck hold. All the things, the potential, the things that I can do that I never thought in a million years that I would be able to do without an engineering degree, you know? So really understanding your full potential, I think, is one of the great benefits of going to a makerspace, finding a makerspace, meeting people that are in the maker community. I just as Ted was saying, that it all kind of intertwines and connects. And you know, as you were mentioning it, not so much on the art side, but technology, Greek root is arts and crafts. So it's all intertwined.
So Ted and Liam, you guys have been part of the educator conferences, but that educator network for much longer than me, longer than Brittany as well. I'm curious what you've seen, like what works well in terms of kind of maker movement, makerspace types. Like how can they partner with educators, equip educators, or where have you seen that work, or maybe areas that you have not?
Wow, that's a super open-ended question. Super open-ended. Well, Liam and I are both connected through the ISS National Laboratory, and I guess maybe to provide some context for those that have heard about the space station, and maybe it's in the back of your mind, maybe know a lot about it, but many people, surprisingly, it's been in orbit for a couple decades, and people are going, what, we have something up there? Well, the Chinese have a space station up there? Wait, they're building their own space station, some public companies? Hello, welcome back to the space race, right? We're going to the moon, right? But most of our activity, all of us here, are really connected through the International Space Station, and Liam and I are connected through the National Laboratory. What's interesting about the National Laboratory that most people don't know is on the U.S. side, of course it is an International Space Station, but half of the up mass, the things that we want to send up like food and supplies and research, as well as half of the astronaut time is managed by the National Laboratory. And another neat fact, it's actually not part of the Department of Energy. It's a nonprofit funded through an act of Congress. But the National Laboratory, amazing people, really support education and the idea of creating and making something of our own, the maker movement. We have a makerspace 250 miles above the planet, traveling at 17,500 miles an hour, going around the Earth every 92 minutes. Why don't you come join us, right? And Liam has imaging now in high def. It's coming just in a couple months, where we can see, I can't wait, Liam, to get a bigger TV and hang out in my living room at the end of a long day and watch Portugal come around again, or Singapore, because I've watched the live Earth. We're at that moment in time right now. Or, my gosh, the mimic that in my classroom or in my maker space, whether it's the smaller scale or that larger, really impressive 1% scale model, that as the space station does its dance around the orbit of our Earth, that literally your model is replicating that. That blows me away when I watch those. It's like watching a plant grow, honestly. The panels are moving really, really slow. But when you've got that pre-recorded, you've got some really wonderful interface buttons on it, and I'd like to learn a little bit more about the different functions. I haven't played with the whole thing yet. But where you can replay it, and suddenly it reorients and watches in 60 times.
60 times.
60 times. Well, what's happening, suddenly you start realizing, and it's a living thing. And it's massive, right? Size of a football field. And Liam, we got, 9 astronauts aboard right now? Tell us a little bit more about who's up there right now.
Yeah, so there are 9 astronauts up there right now. 2 of them have just been up there for a week and a half. They obviously came up via Starliner from Boeing. Yeah, Brittany?
No, I had another thought, so I can finish that one.
Okay, no, I'm done. I want to hear what you're saying.
Well, Liam actually mentioned a great thing about the 3D printers in space today that I had never known before, and I didn't even think about. You don't need support when you're printing on a 3D printer in space.
Moral support.
Glorious that must be.
Right? It must be so glorious. So there is the makerspace up there. The research, all the things that are happening I mean, a makerspace can be something as a table in your living room with a couple of supplies there, right? It doesn't have to be a big fancy building with CNC machines and things like that. You can really make out of anything.
Yeah, so to follow on from makerspaces, did you know that there are 3D printers now capable of printing body parts, essentially? That's where they're going, and potential, opportunities to build replacement organs. And there is a 3D printer, a biological 3D printer on the space station right now.
Meniscus.
Sorry?
They did meniscus.
Yeah, okay.
So some things that your knees go out when you're
Putting
old.
his name on the list. He's ready.
Yeah.
So, and this is where you don't need to, so on the ground, they're doing this right now, but they need support for that. But on microgravity, you don't need the support. And you might wonder, well, it's got to come back down through gravity to come back to Earth, right? And that's quite a harsh environment. But apparently, after they've been, printed, after 2 weeks, they're strong enough to come back down. So
Wow.
I don't know. I know we went off a sideline there, but
no, that's interesting.
Very easy to do.
anyone who wants to have a replacement organ or something, there's a chance that
Sign me up.
space station might help with that.
And probably a good chance that was supported by the ISS National Lab to get up there. I don't know that it was, but that sounds like the kind of thing they would support.
Yeah, and speaking of support from the ISS National Lab, for the Mimic, it's actually grant funded for our mini model that's going out to educators. So amazing educators like Amy and Javier that were mentioned earlier have helped develop this amazing curriculum for the ISS Mimic Mini, where you can even sign up for your own grants on our website to apply for a grant to get all the pieces to build your own mini Mimic for a classroom for those educators out there as well. So a great opportunity there.
And I'm sorry if you said it, but I just wanted to be clear. Like I was going to go back to the ISS National Lab. That's who the grant is through.
That's what I was getting
That's what
at.
you said. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's CreatorSpace, the makerspace that part of. Yeah. So CreatorSpace worked with Amy to write a grant for the ISS National Lab under the STEM umbrella. So that's just what Brittany's saying is maybe the most important part of what we'll say today is that's one way to turn your makerspace into something to kind of help leverage that maker addiction worldwide, because these resources that Amy and Javier are putting together on the website to teach teachers, the grant is for U.S. schools for the materials, but of course this stuff's on the web, so anyone can access it. And then through other funds, CreatorSpace has been able to donate kits to schools in Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Canada, as far away as South Africa. And this is all amazing. I mean, this is blowing my mind. And all of this is only possible because of this partnership with teachers who have networks. Teachers with and plus the ISS National Lab, plus the connections you guys have and help facilitate. None of this would have happened without reaching out and connecting with that incredible, truly incredible network of educators that put in that extra effort to make it happen.
Community. It's interesting. My view is we all have superpowers, right? There's a 12-year-old trapped in the old guy here, so I like to think everybody's got a superpower. Some people know what they have. Some people are discovering that. But what I like about superheroes and superpowers is every superhero has an origin story, right? Right? Like Liam, creating ISS Above, you have an origin story with your grandson, right? Brian, you've got an origin story. I actually started putting plants in space on a dare, right? For my 50th birthday, a dear friend said, we can sell advertising in space. And I'm like, whoa, what? No, no. But what could you do, right? And if I talk to any maker or I get introduced to an idea, there's an origin story there, and they have this superpower. They're super excited about that thing. And maybe no one else is excited about that ant or whatever, that butterfly or that robot arm, but they are. And that is the fuel. That is everything.
And you get those people together and you make the Avengers, right?
Right. Well, that's right, right? Absolutely. So, Liam, I love your origin story. Can you share with everyone that's listening in, that's tuning in, the ISS Above origin story?
Oh, there you go.
All right.
So, my origin story is I wanted to be the coolest grandpa. So my 3-year-old grandson in 2013 he knew that Grandpa was really interested in space stuff. So, but I'm not always with Owen, right? So I wanted to build something that had Owen know about what I'm interested in, and that he would get interested in it too. I built an ISS above that lit up whenever the astronauts were above.
So
And
cool.
it flashed blue if it was less than 10 minutes away. So my 3-year-old grandson Owen learnt to count to 10. And he got very proud when he would say, the astronauts are 10 minutes away, Grandpa.
That's great.
And,
So
and when
good.
I did that, you know, like any maker thing, right, as a maker, you just make something and you share. And then some people pick up on it and they say, well, that's cool. How do I get one? And then that's when eventually what happened was I created a Kickstarter. So, eventually ISS National Lab got interested in that, and I got invited to become an education partner.
And that's when
So-
the Avengers assemble.
There you go. All right, and
Constantly
that's when I
always
met all of
assemble.
these people. So there you go. With the Avengers, so who would you be? So you Silver Surfer, is that a good one?
I'm Rocket Raccoon.
Is that an Avenger?
Oh,
That's
there you
probably
go.
not even an
Raccoon.
Avenger.
I'm really worried about what you guys are going to say.
definitely-
Please interrupt.
Yeah, before we go too divergent here, I don't want to. You guys go wherever you want to go, but I just had to jump back in because you guys have been talking my language. I love space. I am still aiming for space. My aspirational altitude is anything north of 100,000 feet.
Right, high
And-
altitude balloon.
Yes,
Oh,
HABS,
HABS.
high altitude ballooning. Part of a really fun organization, San Francisco High Altitude Ballooning. And a little plug for us, we're sf-hab.org. Or for the rest of the hams out there, that's Sierra Foxtrot-Hotel Alpha Bravo.org.
Hands up if you've launched a high altitude balloon. There you go.
All
So-
right, well,
Shaming us.
Yet, you're doing it.
We jumped out of an airplane.
Yes, we did. We did jump out of an airplane.
so just last weekend was the first time I actually launched a HAB that went up over 100,000 feet and then came back down. But what we've been launching for the last couple of years is high altitude pico balloons.
Yes.
So
Hands up if you've done a pico balloon. Hands up if you won a competition.
competitive pico
I
balloon.
won a competition because it got to the East Coast faster than everyone else.
Yeah,
Apparently.
I got
Oh,
caught in Canada.
Yeah, you won.
Well, that's fantastic.
Nice.
So
There we go.
it's been a lot of fun, and just talking about like education and electronics. My passion is really in embedded electronics and hardware. And,
yeah.
And so we've I'm hoping to get up here somebody who's developed our latest board, AG6NS amateur operator Kazoo. He's down in San Jose. He created this Pico tracker that uses a Raspberry Pi 2040 microcontroller, and we've got about 7 grams of hardware and a postcard-sized solar panel. And we launched one months ago that has gone around the world something like 20 times.
Oh, wow. Was that a hydrogen?
It's
filled?
it is a hydrogen-filled balloon.
Oh, there you go.
It's a super pressure balloon.
Super pressure.
So it goes up to about 40,000 feet and just hangs out there. I launched one last year. It went around about 2 times. And then Martin, W6MRR, our other ringleader, we launched one from Milpitas 2 weeks ago. It just crossed Hawaii, should be sneaking up on the West Coast.
Awesome.
That was our first successful double super pressure balloon launch.
Awesome.
So we had 2. So this stuff is just so much fun, and I love that the amount of energy and expense to get up to 20, 30, 40,000 feet or 100,000 feet. I hear
Poor man's satellite,
Sutro
right?
Tower calling.
Yeah, a poor man's satellite is really what it is.
But
And
I think it's great testing. Like, you want to fly a payload, try a
Incredible.
balloon. But
I was just wondering how do you engage the younger generation to get excited about this?
So, I've had good fun of knowing a lot of folks at Hackaday for a number of years, and go to SuperCon as often as possible. And they've written up a few articles, and I love how they title it. Is they said something to the effect of, "I'm a hobbyist that turns it into a career." So my hackery and tinkering actually got me a job at Kickstarter for a while after your time, and I spent a bit of time there. And I've been spending a lot of time volunteering at hacker spaces and educational organizations the last few years. But now I'm going back to work. I gave a bunch of people the opportunity to hire me, and I'm like, yeah, maybe. So I said I'd never be CEO again, but I thought I'd give it a try as a nonprofit. So I've started a new nonprofit explicitly to do education, science, and R&D.
Wow.
And high altitude ballooning is our first activity.
Oh, there you go. Let's do some fun stuff. Most of our balloons launch in the Central Valley, and those are the 1,200 gram, 1,500 gram. And when you get a nice breeze going down, you launch them near Sacramento. They end up in Fresno. Sometimes they end going toward the Sierras. You want to reschedule those, right? And those super pressures, the farthest I have yet to circumnavigate, as far as Japan going all the way around east, I drop it. It actually went over North Korea.
Good time.
It wasn't shot down by North Korea, but it was tracking, and we lost it over the Sea of Japan, near Hokkaido. But I would love to do that. Maybe you guys can help me with the radios and figure that out.
We'd love to. We do launches here in the Bay Area all the time.
Well, there you go.
And the one other thing that I want to mention that really got me into it was amateur radio has been great. And there's this event in Arizona every year called Quartz Fest, and they launch high altitude balloons. And some of those guys, they've got it really dialed in. So I watched them launch a balloon. A week later, I was still watching it. A week later, I was still watching it. Like, oh, wow, that's a country? Oh, that's a country? Man, how long has it been since I've been in geography class?
Yeah.
You want to get fired up about learning geography.
There you go.
Launch something over the place.
The ISS. So then also, too, like, we've built tape measure Yagi antennas and made contacts off the ISS using it as a flying repeater. But the thing is these weather balloons, there's over 1,000 weather balloon launches a day that are helping us create our weather models for forecasting. And so I found it a hobby to Oakland launches 2 of these a day. And I go out and chase them whenever they land anywhere close. And I've recovered a whole bunch of them, but there's literally AA batteries and STM32 microcontrollers being airmailed twice a day. And chances are you live somewhere very close to a launch site.
That's cool.
So into the whole geography thing, you got me triggered. So if you see this right here, if you want to feel that, do you know what that is?
No, but it feels like something that is wonderfully fantastic. It's a little squishy. It's textured. Like I'm enjoying it with my eyes closed.
You can actually see the Earth based off of the NOAA and NASA satellites in real time. Well, a day or two delayed on that augmented reality systems. So it's one of those great resources and tools. You can also upload your own 3D models to it and see it in augmented reality. So one of those great tools that for makerspaces. Education tool as well. Can see the different planets and forecasts as well. It's really great.
So, Brittany, can you walk through a little bit about what you mean? Like, how do you hold it? What do you do?
Yeah, so I will actually have to get my phone out for that. So, you want to hold this for me?
Sure.
Yeah.
And just on the high altitude balloons, like I had no idea how much educators were involved in rocketry, like Systems Go. Amy, this makes me think of all the things you're involved with: underwater robotics, rocketry. Yeah, the high altitude balloons, even like zero-G flights while you're wearing experiments for your students. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, and I'm finding more and more grant opportunities from ISS National Lab and other things. But what Brittany's about to show, this merge cube, is a fantastic way to kind of merge the tangible. Like this physical model with something virtual.
Well, and while she's pulling that up, this is ISS detector, and this is fun because it'll show you the Tiangong space station and the International Space Station. It'll tell you when it's going to fly overhead,
right,
and how good a chance you're going to have to see it. And without even any tech, you can just go out and be like, oh, there's this bright blip flying overhead.
Super cool. Yeah, if your ISS above is broken, you can always just look it up on the phone.
Or if you're like, that's cool, here's a way better way to do it.
Yeah, right. I need to hold this in your face. Oh, do you need me to hold something else?
If you want to hold that, I can explain while it's loading up here. So what this does is it has several different applications, such as a simulator app where you're able to dissect a frog, hold the solar system in your hands. But it's made out of like a yoga mat material, so very durable. Yeah. So once you place it behind the cube, it becomes the solar system. I'm not sure how well that's reading. Yes. So if you want to see that.
Yeah, let me see if I can get up here. So
You wanna
yeah, if
go
somebody
with-
wants to narrate.
Yeah. We're dealing with gravity here.
So what's happening right now
So much
is you
easier
are
on the space
seeing
station.
the solar system based on that cube. You can hold in your hand. You can actually click on different planets. You're actually holding it, so I'm gonna. This is a really, really high quality demo, and learn more about it. But there's different content that you could even upload your own 3D prints to it, and put different descriptions and models. Use different apps to kind of make it like this. Walk on the surface of Mars. So things like this really kind of help tie the bridge together and put those ideas that aren't quite so physical into the physical hands and help people conceptualize them better.
So yeah, so I was really impressed. So when we were at that the Space Exploration Educator Conference in February, Amy and Javier and Brittany and I were presenting, and I loved the combination of something physical, tangible, with now we really want to explode and get into a much larger realm. So Brittany would go through what you can do with this in the space domain. So there's just so much you can do. I mean, we could talk for an hour probably what you could do with a merge cube, and you don't even have to buy this, right? You could do the
Yeah, they have paper cubes as well. You can find out more information on stemfinity.com.
Infinity.com.
That is so great, and yeah, I am definitely gonna crib from this because since I've been chasing the balloons, like there's some great websites out there, particularly one called Sonde Hub. It's SONDE, sondehub.org, and you pull that up roundabout now. So any Pacific time, 3 a.m. to 5 p.m., 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., you'll see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of balloons flying around in real time.
Wow.
And you can track them coming right at you. So I really want like a three-dimensional arrow on my desk that's like it's over there, you know, very similar to, you know, what you're doing with the ISS sort of thing.
So I'll do a shout out to Patrick, who from Re3D, who has also donated a lot of time, helped us develop ISS Mimic. So he created something called the Scott Kelly detector. No, where is Scott Kelly?
Where's Scott
And
Kelly?
so it was a 2 degree of freedom system that would do that. It had a hand and it would point. But it was pointing at the space station. It was when Kelly was doing his year in space. So it would just point. It sounds like that's what you're looking for. So I think he's got the YouTube video still up.
Awesome. There's Scott Kelly. He's here.
Yeah, and actually, if I can get some AV assistance, can you guys pull up the website sondehub.org? It's SONDEHUB.org. And we'll see where all the balloons landed
There
today.
you go.
It's pretty wild.
I want to riff a little bit on the balloons,
what was
and
that?
I want to riff a little bit on the balloons and
Please.
outreach, because Liam and I have done a few balloons, and what's amazing here is the launch day is incredible. You're filling up a super
Sorry.
oversized balloon.
SONDE
Sonde.
hub, HUB.org. Sondehub.org. You had it. SONDEHUB.org.
And the launch day is incredible, but everything that leads up to launch day is really, I think, what the makers can get a lot out of, which is if you're doing outreach, you've walked students hopefully through multiple weeks of design thinking. We have a mission that's going to go 100,000 feet into the atmosphere. What's it like up there, right? What does that signature look like? What's the weather going to be like on the day you plan on launching? Where is it going to go? Oh, hold on a minute. I'm putting something up in the atmosphere. Aren't there airplanes up there? Yeah, so let me tell you about the FAA and filing a notice to airmen so everyone knows that you're launching a balloon this morning at 10 o'clock. All these things are exciting, and if we're not launching the balloons, awesome, but getting them ready to understand what mission they want to put on that, poor man's satellite, to me is everything, right? You know what's going on.
I was going to say, and there's a maker at Creator Space who builds these awesome drones, too, out of toolboxes and all these different things, if you can elaborate a little more on.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like participation and ownership changes your view of the thing, right? You go from being a spectator to like the creator in the realm. Yeah, so I love what John Stevenson at Creator Space has done. My favorite is he's got this bright yellow toolbox he has on the table. You look at it, it's got these, like this aluminum bar, 2 aluminum bars going through it, and then propellers on it. It's clearly a drone, but it's clearly a toolbox. So he brings that to all the shows. He has robotics creations and things too, but
I need a 3-inch switch, so be right there.
right? Right? And that's the questions he gets all the time, and it really does fly. He says it flies, not well, but it'll fly.
I mean, he's even made a drone that's so small, it fits in the palm of your hand. It's amazing stuff he does with the drones.
And that's inspiring. Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, that's inspiring, I think, when you have a quirky, weird thing that you've improvised. Like, I love that as a contrast to, like, the super professional thing. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to look great.
Exactly.
Progress over perfection.
But back to education and getting younger folks involved, that's our next goal with the SF Hab and the Pico balloons, is we're integrating MicroPython into the controllers, and we want to get community contributed code and student projects to fly alongside and do whatever kind of test they want to do. Just run some sample code, hook up another sensor, do some monitoring. So it can, we'll go out and launch them and set everything up, and we'll take code contributions and whatever experiment we can get in there.
So we're part of a space education alliance that you should join, monthly Zoom calls, where we try to teach group of great people that love space, passionate about space, and are trying to reach out to the education world. So.
All right, well, I'll encourage folks to try it at home. We're having some technical issues, but this is the right website, Sonde Hub. It's a great project. That there's also an amateur.sonde hub that tracks amateur HAB payloads. So I have a total, probably the most important question of the day, which is, who's responsible for these stickers? Okay, so I love how you have like a sticker for
Amazon is responsible.
Okay, well,
I'm responsible for them being here.
Okay, so you're responsible for them being. I have a shirt that looks like this dancing astronaut. Okay, so here we go. All these balloons that you see were launched just this afternoon. So yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. People hear about this Chinese spy balloon like, oh my God, there's a balloon. Little did you know, all those green dots are Raspberry Pis with SDRs, open source tracking, and then
I'm offended by how many are there, and I didn't know. That's amazing.
All the cans.
Wow.
Yeah, those are all different launches. So you can see they're launched all over the place. So you can see the one in the middle of California was launched from Oakland. And
shout out to the ones in Houston.
Or other.
Space City. These are all coordinated by NOAA. So you find one of these devices, it says
so they are
harmless weather instrument.
There were this many.
So this tube also connects. There's an app called HoloGlobe that takes the NOAA satellites, where you're able to see the Earth on the augmented.
Yeah, perfect. There you go. So now you can see the whole flight track. So this
we're
one
used to this from our HAB stuff, but we were doing it on APRS.FI.
Yep.
So
We just actually moved over to Sonde.
No, so
something else.
this is a dedicated meteorological band between.
So these are for actual weather balloon, official.
Yes.
From weather stations and stuff.
Yes, so these are launched by international agencies that are doing weather observations. And so you can see the green line there. It was launched in Oakland around 3 o'clock.
Airports.
And it's
The
flown
airports are
all
where
the
they
way
launch
over
it.
to Manteca.
Okay. So these are not necessarily maker type. They're not sort of like tinkerers like us. These are pro-level balloons, are they?
Well.
It's NOAA, right?
So the most common one is these things are made by a company, Visalia, and their so you see their RS-41 is the Radioson model. And so by the way, if you click on the bottom left, there's a blue button that says telemetry graph. If you click on that. So what is for makers is you're getting airmailed an STM32 microcontroller, a radio transmitter, a GPS unit, and some cool sensors. So there's a online reverse engineering community, and there's alternative firmware you can reflash and relaunch these on an amateur band and make use of the hardware rather than they just launch these things, pretend they never did it, and they become garbage on the ground somewhere. So I have found it an incredible hobby and exercise to go chase these, discover all kinds of places around the bay, and now I have a pile of electronics to start building my next project.
So you've
I just found my new
literally
hobby.
You've gone searching for when they've landed because, so the company that launched them or the weather station, they don't go looking for them?
Yeah, so there's still some that they fly that come with a prepaid postage bag.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
These
You know what this is?
are one-time use.
This is what this is.
It says don't send it back.
Geocaching in space.
Yes, I was literally having the same
in
thought.
space.
It is the greatest geocaching because these go 20 miles up and are randomized by nature and then fall down. So
You can run NOAA simulations though. We're on a balloon
I
chase.
squid.
Yeah, what we do is we actually recalibrate based on the current altitude and then look at the new data because the NOAA data is pretty good. And so if you've got this on track right now, you basically say, well, it looks like it's South Lake Tahoe. Well, we're not going to get to that one. Hey, this one's in Manteca. I'm in the car.
Exactly.
Right?
So this is all NOAA data, and you can see it's doing live predictions and modeling based on the most current available winds, where it's going to come down. So this is the only thing that I'll get up before 4 in the morning for, to see, do I need to get pants on and go looking down the street and find them out.
Pants.
So 4 in the morning, do you need to put your pants on?
Well, eventually.
He's going to leave, I think.
Yeah.
is the idea.
California time, so.
So,
I
anyways,
do put my pants on, just let you know, if I'm going out at 4 in the morning.
Pants status on.
Yeah, that's right.
so we've got just a few minutes left here, so I want to turn it back to you guys for final thoughts and bringing it kind of back home.
All right. I want to just say thank you to the other engineer volunteers that have supported this project for so long. Sam, Craig, Chin, Susan, Aya, and Doug. You guys are amazing. I wish you could be here. Also, I just want to say hi to Nicole from Noisebridge, who's actually a Creator Space member right now in Houston.
Hi, Nicole, we miss you!
Every time I talk to someone here from Noisebridge, they're like, "Oh, I know Nicole." Nice to have her at our space as well.
Yeah, if you want a giant laser or a small laser in your space, find this Nicole of the Noisebridge, and she will give you great info.
Awesome. All right, another shout out to our educators, Amy and Javier, both multi-award winning educators. I know Javier just won the Tony So Award from the ISS National Lab. Amy won the Space Exploration Educator Conference Brindley Award, and just last year an AIAA Award, and Educator of the Year at her school, and I know a long list there.
I'll give a little shout out about Javier. What's really nice, post-pandemic, the youngest kids have a lot of challenges, emotional challenges, but also literacy is a challenge. And when Javier worked with another woman, Valeria, there, she's in Florida, is they designed a workbook, coloring book for Spanish and for English students to travel along in one of our missions. It's kind of like Mark Watney without swearing, and instead of a Mark Watney, it's a little bunny that gets into trouble. And the students have to walk through this book. It's amazing. We got a grant based on the work that Javier did with Valeria, and I just want to thank them for that. And a shout out, since I'm on camera here, why don't you join us Growing Plants in Space? We've got a mission launching on SpaceX 31 this September. We've got labs that are pre-built, and hey, why don't you build your own lab? We have a network of science laboratories all over the world, anywhere from Australia to Zambia. And, come join us. It's pretty fun. And we really do have a makerspace in space. And I think the creation and the creativity and the innovations that I see from like Liam, from Brian, from Brittany, and from all the other folks I meet here definitely means there's so many more things we can do. I mean, we know people that are flying like brain organoids and artificial retinas and plants. So I'll come check it out.
And so ISSmimic.space, can they find, is there an online community? How do people keep this conversation going?
Good question. So ISSmimic.space is a super lame website that I made that points to the other thing. So yeah, from there you can join our Discord. You can go to GitHub. You have some videos about it. Probably most importantly, you can go to the ISSmimic.edu.space, which is what Amy's building specifically for educators. But it also tells you how to build this size ISS Mimic with all the info there.
And you can apply to get a grant to get your own supplies, so that's all inclusive. You can build your own, get everything sent to you. Yeah. And everyone was kind of thanking people. I want to just shout out my former students who kind of encouraged me on this ride of making and tinkering by introducing me to coding, and look where it's taken me. So.
All right, so one more time, your name?
Yeah, Ted Tagami, magnitude.io. Check it out. Like Liam Kennedy, ISS above.
Fire away.
All right, Liam Kennedy. You'll find me at issabove.com or send.com, because that's where you're going to find live views of the Earth in 4K from the space station.
I cannot
in
wait.
about 8 weeks.
Oh,
So,
I cannot wait.
Leon, do you mind spelling send? Because I think they may hit a website they were not intending to if you don't spell it.
Oh, I'll have to find out what that is. All right, Sierra Echo November. Send. seeearthnow.com. Don't spell it, that's just how you remember the 3 letters. seeearthnow.com, SEN.com.
And Brittany Wellborn. I was born so well, they had to call me Wellborn. Sorry. With STEMfinity, STEM, FINITY.com.
And yeah, Brian Murphy, space engineer, but also VP of Creator Space. That's creatorspace.org. One thing I want you all to take away from this, if nothing else, is NASA is providing data for you to see, public data. They've selected what data they think is appropriate on that list for you to know every day, every moment of your life, is how full the urine tank is on the space station. Look it up. You don't have to build the model. Go to our GitHub. There's a page that shows all the data changing anytime. Right now, you can see how full is the urine tank on that space station.
There's also the Discord as well for the ISS movement.
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
no.
that sounds super exciting, and I'll just say, if you want to talk more balloons, if you're in the Bay Area, want to participate in a launch, check out SF Hab. It's SF like San Francisco dash Hab, like high altitude balloons.org. There's tons of information out there, other sites, Sonde Hub and whatnot. So I want to thank you all for coming out. We'll be back more tomorrow. We'll be doing some 5 Minute of Fame talks, which is decade-plus long Noisebridge tradition.
Stop by our booth.
Come by. How do people find your booth?
Yeah, so there was a bit of a provocation here about, these stickers are amazing.
Okay, here we go.
Stickers?
I just want there was a different
are
one for
amazing.
every occasion, but you guys have upped the game. They're holographic. They've got a frickin' thing in space on them. They're amazing. I just love that.
So
you have
I
one
put-
with balloons. You have one with a spaceman and a boombox, who my boombox, makeboomboxes.com buddy's gonna get.
Yes,
These-
but
all
if
the
you're-
stickers.
If y'all are at Open Sauce, come by. We are in Hall D, right next to the industry stage on the corner. Come get a sticker and say hi to all of us.
Yeah, and we've got a selection of Noisebridge stickers for you all.
Awesome.
And also,
Oh,
I just
yeah.
want to give a shout out to Noisebridge. We've got some fantastic helpers unseen back here running the AV and enabling all this stuff for you at home. And those of you in the future, hello from the past. Noisebridge, like all of us and many organizations, really runs on and depends on your donations and your support. If you can't give us money, talk about us, ask questions, engage. That's why and what we're here for.
Awesome. Thank
Thank
you so much.
for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Noisebridge.
Awesome.
Thank you, Internet World.
yeah.